Hey, Vinnie, good to see you again. I know we talked about automotive a few weeks back. This time around, I wanted to kind of spend some time explain to you your manufacturing strategy and talk in more detail about this cloud product that we launched a few years back. So it's going to be a slightly different conversation, manufacturing cloud. It's been in market for 3 years, and just walk you through our strategy, our thinking, and also share a couple of customers who've done some incredible things with the product.
So, hopefully you'll define what you call manufacturing, right? Industrial, discrete versus process, et cetera. So look forward to it.
Perfect. It's actually, let's just start there. It is all of that. Like, so when we think about manufacturing industry, we really kind of broadly define the market in terms of couple of subsectors, discrete and process manufacturing, and within that also we really focus on 4 key subsectors: complex equipment manufacturers, production parts suppliers, right? So automotive suppliers and other suppliers whose products go into other manufacturers and equipment. The third is chemical manufacturers, and then the fourth is kind of distribution-oriented manufacturers, right? Like who really focus on distributing their products to a channel and channel ecosystem, right? So that's kind of like at the broadest levels how we think about the space and how we align and position our products.
In the fourth category, the distribution-oriented one, does that take you into the supply chain, or you stick to the make part of manufacturing?
We just stick to the make and the delivery side part of the manufacturing, right? And that's a great, like, and as we talk about this, one of the things, just so at the outset I should let you and the audience know, is when we call manufacturing cloud, we are not really talking about getting into the main operational kind of the in the manufacturing operations, right? We are still very much focused on the customer facing side of the businesses, right? Like, so our strategy is to focus on the customer facing side, the front office and the middle office, right? Because we think there's a lot of opportunity for digitization, and that's where we can really bring a ton of value to our customers.
Right. Okay. Even on that side, so much is changing in terms of the whole product as a service, and the whole. You're right. You don't need to be in the MES or down in the weeds.
Exactly.
So much opportunity in every one of those sectors. Okay, great. Look forward to it.
Perfect. So like, we do these studies, talk to our customers, and like, you'll be surprised, you'll not be surprised what you're seeing here. Really a lot's going on in this industry, obviously, with the supply chain disruptions. Like really customers are trying to understand what is the demand, what does that demand look like, right? Overall. The second thing that we also know is there's like a lot of volatility in demand in general, right? And in terms of what is in the market, what is available, what is surplus across the value chain, right? Inflation, as we all know, inflation is through the roof, especially, and really, how do we take this material and input costs as they're increasing? How do we pass on these to customers, right? And how do we really relook at all of the customer agreements that we have, and figure out a way to kind of renegotiate some of those contracts. The fourth area is essentially a massive kind of reskilling or rebuilding of workforce that's taking place in our industry. Like a whole bunch of retirements that are taking place, new people are coming into into manufacturing organizations. So manufacturers are like figuring out, okay, how do we actually skill this new labor that is coming in and get them up and running immediately so that they can add value into the organization. And then lastly, there's like a lot of discussions around sustainability, and really, even when it comes to sustainability, how manufacturers are going to work with their suppliers, with their partners, and with their customers will be dependent on how well do they really kind of use sustainable products and services as a way to differentiate themselves. So overall, there is like a lot of pressure in the system, And if we really sit back and think about this, there are 2 or 3 things that come out, right? Like one is how do we get more productivity out of what we have? Second is how do we really drive efficiency and automation into the business? And when we really further drill down with these manufacturers, what they really tell us is, listen, we have not lacked for data, but what we really want to do is really become more data driven from the perspective of giving it to the people who interact with our customers, with our ecosystem, right? That's like the first thing. They want this information to be harnessed. It needs to be contextualized within the work and the work processes that they do, and really get it into the hands of their value chain partners, right? The third thing is they want to extend this data to their customers, so the customers can self-serve. Customers can actually do something with it and really drive their own efficiencies and operations. They want to take data that is in their connected products and connected equipment and take that and drive new types of experiences, new types of revenue streams and business models. And then finally, even in sustainability, data will be that foundation of how these manufacturers will run a sustainable business, right? Like, so at the end of the day, this is all about like taking data and harnessing it and driving business processes and business efficiencies. So for manufacturing cloud, what is our focus? If we take all of that and really kind of build, when we think about this product and what we have done, right? We've really focused on getting those customer operations efficient, up and running, right? So we talked about supply chain demand volatility. Who's the consumer and who's the originator of that problem? It's your sales teams who understand the demand and the volatility of the demand. It's your partner and the partner ecosystem. So how do we really unify all of that stuff, all of that information, and create a consensus view of what is forecasted from a business perspective? The second is service and service operations, whether it's connected products, it's product quality issues and all. How do we really take all of that and optimize and improve the service operations? The third is take the data that we have in commercial side of the business and really apply intelligence and drive more intelligent kind of forecasting, intelligent contract negotiations and things like that. And the last thing is, given 50% plus of manufacturers' business goes through a dealer distributor or a partner network, how do we really ensure that there is a real-time collaboration with them, right? So that's kind of been the focus of where we have built manufacturing cloud on top of the Salesforce platform. So if you really distill it down into what does that mean in terms of capabilities, right? So first of all, let me touch upon commercial operations. So, if you sit back and think about manufacturing, net new business, if you're lucky as a manufacturer, is driven by GDP plus, right? 4 to 5 or 6% of your business is net new business. But a lot of your business is in these run rate, long-term customer agreements, or you're bidding on long-term projects and programs, and a lot of this other type of data. So when we talk to a lot of customers over the last 2-3 years, as we have built this product, they were using Salesforce as a CRM for net new business. And that's where you kind of leverage Sales Cloud and the capabilities there. But a significant portion, 90% plus of the business, was essentially outside of the Salesforce, where long-term customer agreements, projects, and programs and all was being done outside. And in many cases, what we had seen was these customers were essentially either using no systems, believe it or not, like Excel spreadsheets or others, or tapping into their ERP sources to bring that data, because ERPs have to execute against those agreements. They were bringing that into their own kind of realm of things that they use. Most probably, as people say, Excel has been like the biggest app that people have used, right? And use that as a way to really know what was going on with their customers, right? So what we did was we built this whole run rate concept inside of Salesforce. And we built that in so that you can see a customer and their agreements of what product are they buying, at what time, at what price point, over the lifetime of that contract. And with that, what we do now is have the visibility into that, marry that with the visibility of all their net new business that they're pursuing. And by combining that and taking some of the other ordering that they get through partners and EDIs, bring that all into creating what we call a consensus sales forecast, right? So once you have that consensus sales forecast, we take that information, a customer can take that and push it into their kind of demand planning and operational planning solution. And then the supply chain folks or the operation folks can essentially massage it, give them back the feedback on what they see from their perspective, the forecast or what they can deliver on, and create a sales and operations forecast, a consensus forecast. So this type of capability really has, what it has helped is help the commercial side of the business be much more closer to their operations side of the business and essentially brought them together, right? So that's like one significant innovation that we have brought into the market from Manufacturing Cloud. So as you can see, it's a front office extension into the middle office. We are not going into all of the back office operational side of it. What we expect is the front and middle feeds the back, and the back essentially gets back to the front and middle and says, okay, this is how we want to run business. So we are really bridging the gap between sales and operations side of the business. Okay. The second thing is, as I said, partners. Partners are important to these guys, right? This industry. So how do we really drive that collaboration model with partners, right? The dealers, the reps, the distributors. So everything that we have developed, it's available to the partners, right? So you can, if the agreement is through a distributor agreement, we want the distributors to in real time let the manufacturers know what is going on with that agreement, how much are they going to order, and things like that. Same thing with forecasts. In addition to that, we have this world-class leading product, which essentially, as we know, when you have to push product through the dealer and distributor ecosystem, you need to give them rebates, incentives. So we have tied that capability into this so that you can really drive through the distributor network, through rebates and incentive programs, your product and uptake of the product into the marketplace. Similarly, dealers and distributors also respond to customer and product issues. So how do we really open up the service channel so that they can service not only their end customers, but they can also get the help and support from the manufacturer on the customer or product issues. So that's kind of an end-to-end partner kind of capabilities that we have delivered. The third area where we're focused and a lot of innovation is take our service capabilities, which are delivered through Service Cloud, but enhance them to really get into more of the same front and middle office operations of a service. So service doesn't stop at engaging with the customer at call center. Actually, that's the beginning of a service process in a lot of manufacturers. So it could be, where is my order? Okay, an agent can take the information of where the order is, but if it has to be orchestrated all the way into the back end, they need to be really contextually have that information, pass that information to the right people, and they all have to really understand where the status of that order is or the work that has to be performed is to really drive that business process. So we have built these tools and capabilities for automation in the service space, where we can take not only that order, but the complaint or product issues and orchestrate in the service side of the business.
So that's taking you much more into field service, right?
Field service. It also is taking us into more of product quality management, complaint management, those types of areas. So it's not just about case management. It is a lot about those types of capabilities. And then for every one of these capabilities that we bring to market, we have analytics. So we talked about forecasting, predictive forecasting. How is this forecast doing? How are we going to perform? All of that, right? Agreements. Are our contracts going to be performing according to what we are seeing in the market? Are orders coming in? What is the price performance against that, right? You're seeing some of that in the screenshot here. But that gives you in real time contextual actions that you can take to really drive business forward. And then ultimately, as you can see, as we're getting into more and more middle office, we need access to data which sits in backend systems, right? ERP systems like SAP or Oracle and others. So one of the things we have also done is work with MuleSoft and really build out these connectors between manufacturing cloud and the backends like SAP. So data like sales contracts that sit in SAP can be pulled into sales agreements within manufacturing cloud, or product price data, bring that in. So very deep integrations out of the box so that customers can really bring that data in quickly and can kind of start providing all of that to their front office professionals so that they can really digitize their operation. So as I said, this is built on Salesforce platform. So and you've heard this mantra from me and my other core peer GMs on how we build industry clouds. Manufacturing cloud is built on top of sales, service, and platform, right? Salesforce platform. So we get all the goodness, but then on top of that, we build these manufacturing specific data foundations, right? Whether it's your agreements, your assets, warranties, all of this, right? Like the data foundation. On top of that, we build these engines, right? Like, so I talked about forecasting. If you have to do forecast in manufacturing across customer, product category, over a stream, right? Over a time series, you really need a very powerful engine. So we built this engine called data processing engine, which takes data not only from Salesforce, but from outside Salesforce, processes it and contextualizes it and brings it back into the front office. Right.
Question on your offerings. The marketing cloud isn't that important to manufacturing. What are you finding?
Yes, it's not that important. Having said that, it is important from the perspective of taking that contextual data, and if I have to, let's say, alert a customer based on some service issues that are taking place with their equipment, that's how we see customers using some of the capabilities around marketing cloud, right? Things like that. So what you're seeing is we build these components and then build deep processes on top of that, whether it's forecasting, agreements, contracts, target setting, and all of that stuff. Okay. And then we extend it out with all the other kind of goodness that we get from the Customer 360 cloud.
Where is the revenue side in this?
So revenue side.
New business models emerging in manufacturing. Where would you cover those?
So that's where this integrates into our revenue cloud. Like, so with our CPQ capabilities and things like that. So essentially, given that this works together with that, we essentially tie in a lot of this. So for example, sales agreements, you can quote them and you can price them using the revenue cloud and also kind of get the overall, like, the revenue side of the operations. On the service side,
you may want to highlight that at the bottom along with the others, only because it's becoming, I see the whole manufacturing sector just moving so much away from product to service, right? The revenue outcome-based models and all that, you may want to show that get that a little more prominence.
Makes sense. Yes. Good call out. So then this is just a quick overview of how we've built this over like last 3+ years. Obviously, we got started way back in winter of 20. I'm not going to go through every one of these. As you can see, there's like a lot of richness here of capabilities that we have launched, right? And just wanted to give you a good perspective of where are we going next, right? Like, how do we continue to evolve? We'll stay cogent to those 3 pillars that I just talked about. Commercial operations, that's where we want to continue to kind of provide capabilities. So you'll see more and more from us around making that salesperson more productive. So when they visit a customer, what conversations to have, how to have them, all of that. Sales visit planning, contract lifecycle management is a new capability you'll hear from us being launched. On the channel side, rebates, we'll enhance it for ship and debit analysis. On the service side, you'll hear from us around warranty management, warranty lifecycle. You'll hear a lot more coming from us in that space, and also service contract management. So really, these are the three areas where we are really focused on developing a lot of like future roadmap and capabilities. So let me just touch upon, like, bring this to life through a couple of examples of customers, right? Like, so Swissbit is a manufacturer of chips and other kind of IoT sensors and products like that. So a lot of like the stuff that I like capabilities that I just talked about earlier, right? Like which is essentially, they had these customer agreements and all of this like data sitting in multiple different systems, including SAP and others. Their sales side did not have a lot of this information on their side. So essentially with Manufacturing Cloud, what they're doing is they're taking all of this information and creating one single source of truth for all of their sales and operations data and becoming better at forecasting. So as you can imagine, for a chip manufacturer, right, really getting close to what their customers are expecting is very, very important, right? So if they can get that information and they can run their operations through that demand, then they can really kind of be close to the market. And that's what they have done. They've essentially created a much more kind of accurate predictions of what their customers need and have reduced supply chain issues. And they've been very close to the market and market's needs and been very, very successful. Actually, they essentially talked about the success of bringing this all together at Dreamforce. And essentially, this has helped them not only run their business much more profitably, but also run it more efficiently. Another example
I'm sure with being in the sensor and chip business, all the breakdowns in the auto supply chain probably
yes,
them too. Yeah.
Not only just auto, they sell IoT sensors for manufacturing operations. Understanding what is going on there, what are they essentially selling, how it's being used also is important for them, right? The second example is Tenneco. Tenneco makes these aftermarket parts and original equipment manufacturer parts in the automotive space. So going back to your automotive example, for them also, it's the same problem, right? How do I understand my run rate agreements and my new opportunities? How do I really bring this all together so that I can forecast better, right? Similar example of that, I take the demand input that I'm seeing and drive the operations, right? And because this stuff was sitting in silos, they basically were able to consolidate that and bring it in all into one kind of Salesforce platform and drive the business forward. They also talked about this with their at Dreamforce, and essentially what this has done is it's made their salespeople much more productive because now they know not only what demand they're seeing, but then when they have to go and have discussions with customers, they can actually go in and have very specific discussions around what products do they see that they will order, what products do they need, and really drive the business conversations driven completely by that data and data-driven kind of mentality, right? Like, so that's kind of how we see kind of manufacturers really move their business forward as we look at this. These are just a couple of examples that I wanted to share with you to say we're seeing some very kind of different ways in which now manufacturers are using Salesforce platform with Manufacturing Cloud.
Well, I like that you're sticking more from the front office back. You're not going into the deep operational areas. So a lot of opportunity where you're, coming at it that way. A lot of the traditional vendors are still stuck in the operational mindset, and
Yes,
frankly, not doing that very well at this point. So,
and like I was saying, there's enough in there in the front and the middle for digitization. These types of examples that I just shared with you are the examples of digitization. And if you really tie it back to silos, employees leaving the company, and that institutional knowledge going, more and more manufacturers, the C-level executives tell us, look, we need to digitize, we need to have systems, we need to have processes, and really standardize this. And that's how they will be prepared for the next kind of evolution of their business, right? So that's and that message is resonating. That capability conversation is resonating because really, if and Vinnie, you've been in this business for long, what was done from an automation perspective in the manufacturing and back office, we're really basically saying let's bring that same thought process around front office and middle office. bring automation here, drive productivity, and manufacturers understand that and they believe in that.
Excellent. Thank you again. We've got to meet more in person. We keep doing this virtually. Thank you very much.
Yes, Vinnie. I'm looking forward to that day when I can come down to Florida to see you.
Well, hopefully we won't have a hurricane then.
Yes.
Thank you.